Hey everyone, by now you know this Prado is nice and clean. The paintwork's Mickey Mouse, no dents, no scratches. It's had a bit of a clean since the big sandy Fraser trip, but let's put it up on the hoist and see how clean it really is and identify all the parts I missed. And once you do that, you'll be able to know, like I will, where we need to target better with that garden hose, getting that water in there, rinsing all the salt and sand out. I'm also going to give you some feedback on the Kaon Panhard corrector. So kaon.com.au have got a Panhard corrector for these vehicles. I'm not saying you need it or you don't. We'll get to that. Let's have a look underneath the vehicle. We put some luster on the paint. It's still beautiful and smooth and the water's beating. I've pressure washed it off a few times. That's all you need to do. You don't need to wash the car anymore. It's kind of crazy, but look, I gave it a wash anyway. Put some soap on it. Water still beads, but it's going to take some time before we can give you some feedback on that, but looks good so far. Let's get it up in the air and have a look underneath and see what we missed. This is a standard problem we've had on only this vehicle, not all Prados. This helps, doesn't it? This clip forever keeps coming out. I've even replaced the clip. I put it back in. It doesn't take long and it's back out again. Not a big deal. Just about get rid of that bloody flap and then we won't have to look at it, right? And there will be some bonus off-topic tips and tricks included in the video, like always, because that's how it works. And you can see we've got the BFG tyres that I like, but I don't like anymore. I love them, but don't buy them because they wear out twice as fast and they cost way too much. There's other brands out there. Check out the stuff that's made in Japan and you're on the right track. So rock spray up. They missed the mud flap and look at that. They hit the side step, which is another good reason to have side steps, because if that wasn't there, not only what you can see there, but plus what you don't underneath all the way along the step would be hitting the bottom of your paintwork if you don't have heavy duty or standard side steps, something in place to protect that paintwork, as you can see, right? Did you ever think of that before? If you didn't, hit the like button. And if you did, well, you're smart, so hit the like button anyway. For those that don't know, this is coming up on 3 years old. It's a 2022, January 22, so 23, 24, 25, it'll be 3 years. Always works better with a light on, doesn't it? Better with double lights too. So, been on Fraser Island, bouncing around on the sand and a few, you get a few of those holes, so the big boof. That's why you see these clips about to fall out and come out of place, things like that. That thing bent up and that clip not there. This is sometimes people working on the vehicle and not putting things back how they're meant to be. There's a bolt there, so that doesn't go anywhere. That doesn't go anywhere. The clip, I think this clip we just leave out because it's always a pain in the butt anyway. But so I'm gonna have a bit of a look and see what's going on along here. I did have that wheel element done and checked recently, so I can't really, they'll take these off to get to the stuff like that. That was at the dealer, of course. I only ever been to the dealer, me and the dealer. So anything that happens that isn't right, you know where it happened, not here. Anyway, the idea was to have a look at the vehicle to see how clean it is and what we've missed. Now I can see a bit of sand up on that upper ball joint, not a big deal, but a bit more water. So what that means is up underneath the front from this direction with your hose and or pressure washer. If it's a pressure washer, not too close. We don't want to push water past the boots into the area, but with rinsing the sand off, I'm not worried about sand, but if there's sand there could be salt residue there. Now look up in this gap in here, there's a hole there in the chassis, right? And you can see a little bit of sand in there, so we need to stick the hose in the holes of the chassis a bit more. You can have a look in the holes up here as well. You'll probably find that pretty clean because I gave those holes a bit of a hit, but you can see the general underneath of the vehicle. It's very bloody clean for it's about 75,000 Ks, right? Same again, a bit of sand there, but let's get a bit more extensive further up the vehicle and have a look. I would suspect these bash plates could be full of sand still, because see how this mesh is broken out? Like I said, it's a giant sand scoop. So when you're on standard 31-inch tires, and all these big tires have been through digging things up, pulling trailers, getting bogged, digging holes, and you come across one you didn't know, you're doing 30, 40 Ks, it looks pretty smooth, you're having a good run, and then boof, and you sort of, you just boof, you know what I'm talking about. So that's where aftermarket bash plates come in handy. They're stronger, but not required because it's just sand, and you can see this did the job. You can see how much scraping it's done. There's fresh scrape and a little bit of surface rust there. Not much back along here, so it's certainly not a requirement, but I thought there might have been a lot of sand in there, but it's not looking too bad, is it? Right, let's get along it a bit. Let's have a look at these here. Feedback on 3 things. I've talked about the luster already. It's going to take a bit longer, but it looks good. Quick and easy to apply. It's going to help protect your paint. Thank you for sending me that. Can you send me a text message? Because I just want to put a note in the phone and put the word luster under it and all that, because I want to know who you are and all that. I could probably think really hard and find it, but it's easier if you just shoot me a text. Feedback on these lower control arms. These are the good, cheap aftermarket ones, so I'm told. Testing them out on a few vehicles, including this one. Just done a heap of bouncing around on Fraser. And we'll also have a look at that Panhard corrector and I'll give you some feedback. So might not be your usual 3, 5, 6, 8, 10 minute video. It might go a little bit longer. Let's just see. It'll be worth it though. Those bushes, they look like new arms to me, and they are. They've only done 15,000 Ks, right? But cracks could start because I've just given them a pretty hard time bouncing around out there. But I wouldn't say they're rubbish at this stage, because people have said, oh, I'll get the cheap arms, and they've got some arms off eBay, or I don't want to name any supposed half reputable companies, you know, the ones with the red stuff. Anyway, they can get some cheap arms wherever, and people have got arms from a number of different cheap places, and they've come back to me and said, no, you are right, they're gone, you know. Look, talk about under 40,000 Ks, 40,000 more or less, that sort of thing, 60, a couple of years and whatever. So those ones, they look really good. You can see the bit of surface rust on there. Okay, we're just going to have a look around, see how much sand we've got anywhere else. We haven't done a service since we've been back. It's just washing. You can see everything's pretty the old red dust, or is that rust in there? One or the other, hard to tell at the moment, not looking too. I don't want to waste too much time. At some stages, obviously been a stick rubbing on the propeller shaft there. Every now and then you get a stick stuck. Stop and pull it out when you can. But I'm looking for corrosion from salt, where I'm not really seeing a lot. There was a bit of surface rust on this already. So you can see a little bit of sand under there. I think it's due for about one more wash. Brake pads at 80,000 Ks nearly like new, because like I said, it's a highway car. You won't find a better looked after Prado. For sale soon, you know, so next year. Stay tuned. It's for sale now, but you know, might be cheaper next year. Might be able to do a deal, you know. All right, hasn't had any lubrication, hasn't been on the hoist. So no, I don't put it up on the hoist and wash it. I'm just like you, DIY style, so that way I can experience what you guys have to experience. You can see, there's a bit of sand up there, see? This is what, if there's sand, there could be salt. So under the side steps, point that trigger spray upwards. This is where your pressure washer can't get to, because you can't angle it. Unless people are going to go, oh, but I brought one of this angle head and that angle head. Well, you've spent even more money, and your pressure washer's using power as well. Just use the hose, more water. Nothing needed extra to buy your trigger nozzle sprayer thing, you know, the $4 one from Bunnings, Aqua Systems. Just spray it straight up and get all this stuff all rinsed out. And that's why I'm doing this video, really, to show you the bits. Look, I didn't do my best, hardest clean. I think I spent a bit of time spraying in the chassis, so that should be pretty good. You can see in there. Have a look for yourself-ish. Oh, there's a bit of sand sitting there, right? So you could, I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about the sand, but see a bit of sand in there as well, a bit of sand. I don't want to lubricate that and push sand into the grease nipple. So more water required around the propeller shafts, not pressure, because you're going to push sand grit past these seals into your sealing area, perhaps, if you put pressure washers around here. So avoid too close on the moving parts that, you know, but look how clean it is. It's pretty bloody good, isn't it, right? You can see those Kaon shock guards. They do work really well to protect these monotube shock absorbers, or any shock absorber. You can see the diff gets hammered pretty hard. Okay, Panhard protector. We'll just get to that in a minute. A little bit more looking around. It's looking pretty clean, right? This is the sort of used car look you want to buy. You know, something that's looked after. Might have been used a bit, but it gets looked after even more than it gets used. There's a little bit of sand, a few rocks that spray around. Clean those out, check your diff breather, make sure it's happy like that. This will be due for an 80,000 soon. Toyota, I think, did that 40, so you know, we'll find out how tight things are, right? Rear pads, once again, I'll say pretty much like new. They're at least 80%. Like I keep saying, highway kilometers, people. It's not gonna have DPF problems. It's got average speed of closer to 100 Ks, so it's like an oil change every 3,000 or 4,000 Ks if it gets done every 10,000. I've explained that in other detail. I'm not going to waste too much time on it. You can see a bit of sand around, but I've done a pretty good job. What's going on there? Look like a tube hanging down from this side, doesn't it? Look in here, a bit of sand, not really, pretty good. Up in around the back, around the tow bar, the plugs, you know, all this material. This is where things can get trapped. Just means more water till it runs out clear. Throw the water up over the fuel tank. Panhard corrector. We've got a video on installing it. Bit of chit chat. Look, short answers. I'm not going to say you need it because we haven't needed it for the last 10, 15 years. But certainly it will correct. The diff certainly does get moved from one side to the other when you install your lift kit, particularly if it's this high. This is 329s on a GX, sits quite high when it's not loaded. It's waiting for a load, it's waiting for a trip. It gets loaded up heavy, full weight, then it sits perfect and it's still got clearance for the tracks. Springs are always a compromise. It's going to be too high, it's going to be too low, it's going to be just right. It's going to be right when it's unloaded, it's going to be right when it's loaded. One or the other, you can't have both. So this one's a bit high when it's not loaded, but it's perfect when it's in its main use. But in doing so, when it's unloaded, it sits quite high, so it puts quite an angle on that Panhard, which is that long one in the middle of the picture that the red thing's connected to. So it does a couple of things, moves your track to the side, which I don't think, as much as you can see it sometimes, and you might think, oh, look, you know, you can see it's out of alignment and all that. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't make much difference to your wheel alignment or anything like that. But what it would do is, if you're a bit of a high-speed driver, a race car driver, which I'm pretty sure this isn't a GTR Skyline, it's a Prado, but if you were a fast driver and you're regularly on high-speed sweeping bends that had bounces in the road, as the car goes over those bounces up and down and gets that movement, that bar being on a bigger angle then makes the diff, the back diff, move sideways like that more, and that's where you need to counter steer that. And obviously if you're not a good driver or whatever, and you're not prepared for that, it can change your handling characteristics, let's say. I hope you know what I mean. So of course putting in that certainly has reduced that, but it's only been in there for, what is it? I don't know if it's 5,000 Ks. I've just done 5,000 Ks on it, right? So it went in at about 70,000. And my memory's not too bad yet. So I've done 5,000 Ks, but it's up to Fraser and back, mainly straight line, bouncing around on the sand. I haven't spent a lot of time on the sweeping bends at 100, 120, you know, that are bouncing and all that, which I've got some of those roads, and I think it's made an improvement for that. So that's the sort of improvement it makes. It's very rare that you're on those bouncing bends. So I'm not the guy that's going to say you need something when you don't. It certainly corrects things back to, you know, how it was before, each to their own. So let's just say at the moment, I don't have a big opinion on it. It's obviously a quality product. It does what it's designed for. If you want to correct it, it's probably cheaper than getting a whole, you can keep your genuine bushes and bar and anything like that and just pop that one in there. That's great. Like I said, not saying you need it, but give me some more time on it and do some GTR style high-speed driving, Peter Brock. And we'll just see, you know, I'll give you a bit. But look, I recommend you sort of don't drive that most of the time, particularly in Prados. Anyway, I'm happy with my vehicle inspection, how clean it is. It'll get a bit more water on the next wash, on the next car wash. The hose will go underneath. It looks like about another 10, 15 minutes worth of water from our water tanks. With our pump getting run by our 10 kilowatts of solar. Not that I'm going to save the world or anything, but it's all free, right? As long as you do it at the right time. It looks pretty clean otherwise. I think it's a bada bing. What else did I say? So control arm feedback so far, very good. So we've got those in stock pickup if you like, or you can contact me at the usual times, you know, parts days, whatever, up between 8 and 10 a.m, Monday to Friday. Sit tight and relax, and eventually it'll happen. If you want those, we can come and pick them up. All the big stuff, come and pick them up. Saves you on freight if you're in Victoria. Drive shafts, we don't keep in stock, but I can get them for you. They'll be a bit cheaper. Come and pick them up. Everything else, yeah, come pick up whatever parts you want. Injector kits, BFE kits, we welcome pickups. I'll do a bit of work on this front bar here and I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Hope that helps. What else did I say I was going to give you feedback on? Panhard, those bars in the last 3 things feedback, plus looking under the vehicle. I reckon it's a pretty good video. I'd hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on. What are you going to do? Catch you on the next one. See ya.